Sports Mag, I'm Matthew Sewick, sitting along like Luke Rosenmeyer.
How you doing?
And we're just going to start off the show.
Yeah, let's jump right in. All right, the last match of the Colorado Soccer Classic had the Buffs and number 10 UCLA Bruins facing off. The game was very evenly matched as both teams had 12 shots. Neither the Buffs nor the Bruins surrendered a goal in regulation, sending the game into overtime. After 10 more minutes of scoreless play, we were headed to double overtime, and that was where the Buffs took control. In the 108th minute, Lizzie Herzl of CU got a volley and sent the ball flying into the top left corner for a sudden death overtime goal, and you're going to see that picture in just a minute here. With the win, this was the first time the Buffs had beaten a top 10 opponent since 2008 and a future conference foe in the Pac-12. Here's that Lizzie Herzl goal coming up right now. Rips it. Opposite corner goal had no chance, and that is a great sudden death golden goal.
And the soccer team is now cruising into conference play after a thrilling upset against number 10 ranked UCLA. With a record of 4-4, the Buffs are now preparing for their last games in the Big 12 conference play, beginning with Texas A&M. The Buffs will visit the Aggies in College Station Saturday with history on their side. The Buffs should feel good about their chances as they own the all-time season record against the Aggies, only losing once in 18 matches. The team comes home Sunday to take on the Texas Longhorns at Prenup Field. The Buffs look to change their luck as they only have won once in the last 7 matches at home against UT.
The Buffs' moving day to the Pac-10 has moved up. On Tuesday, the CU Board of Regents voted unanimously that they would exit the Big 12 this year instead of 2012, as was originally planned. Due to the early departure, the Buffs will forfeit nearly $7 million in Big 12 funds. Nebraska, who is also headed to the Big 10 at the same time, also had to give up over $9 million in conference funds. The Utah Utes will be joining the Buffs in the move to the conference currently known as the Pac-10. The new Pac-12 conference will be fully formed and begin play in fall 2011.
All right, and coming up after the break, we have loads of Colorado football for you.
That's right, we'll have highlights of the Buffs win over Hawaii, as well as an exclusive interview with legendary football coach Bill McCartney. Stick around.
I'm a good student. We don't want to be at your party any more than you want us here.
What could we have done to avoid this?
Keep the noise down so no one complains.
Hey, guys, keep it down. The neighbors are complaining.
Make sure anyone drinking alcohol is at least 21.
You sure you're old enough?
And finally, make sure that you don't have too many people.
Man, that would have been easy. I wish I had known the rules. Now you know. Avoid trouble. Know the rules.
Don't you love that safe, free feeling you get in a pickup truck, Larry?
Yeah, nothing but you, me, the open road, a deer.
Yeah! A cow! Yeah! An ostrich! The village people! The village people?
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
Especially in pickup trucks.
I didn't know the village people were doing a road tour.
Ah, it's a great day, isn't it?
Yeah. Too bad your boat's gonna sink at 11:05.
Don't come closer. I have rabies. Don't you wish there were warnings to protect you from life's risks? With diabetes, there is one. It's called A1C, a simple blood test that helps measure your risk of serious complications. Learn more at diabetesaA1c.org.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool, really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this. So why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately. Because time lost is brain lost.
CU took on the Hawaii Warriors on Saturday. It was definitely a close game that you had to stick around to the end.
That's right. The Buffs didn't look too good in the first half. We had some problems. You see Hawaii trying to intimidate with that haka dance. And it worked early as you see Moniz hitting his running back. Kealoha Pilares for an 80-yard gain. Looks like he's going to score, but there comes Jimmy Smith, knocks him out at the 2.
And they get within the 1st and 10. That's 1st, 2nd, get into the 3rd. Can they make it into for a touchdown? I don't think they can. 4th and goal, no score. That will be Buffs ball. Now we have Travon Patterson with a fumbled punt that will be recovered by the Warriors at the Colorado 3rd-yard line.
However, once again, they could not get in from within the 10 as kickers miss in a 20-yard field goal. However, Buffs not doing themselves any favors. Here you see Rodney Stewart go up, and whoops, he lost the ball. Another Buffs turnover. This time, Hawaii able to capitalize on the mistake as Moniz found his running back, Pilares, in the flat, wide open for a touchdown. 7-0 Warriors.
Another field goal in the second half. Now we have Hawaii 10-0 in the halftime. Second half's a different story. We have Rodney Stewart, a huge hole. Buffs on the board. Now it is 10-7.
All right, and here you go. Bryant Moniz is he's hit on his way. He mishandles the snap, drops it, gets it off to his running back, but he's brought down in the end zone for a safety. And then the Buffs getting the ball back again after that safety. Rodney Stewart with his second touchdown of the game. They get the 2-point conversion to go up 17-7, 17-10.
We are not done scoring yet. Hansen outside the pocket, looks for Clemson, behind the defense, gonna go down for a 73-yard touchdown. Look at that. That'll make the score 13-24.
24. However, the Buffs not done scoring yet. He's looking for Clemens again there, and who's in the right place at the right time? You know, it's Scotty McKnight putting the Buffs up for good. It's 31-10 at this point. Hawaii would add another field goal, looking to bring the ball down the field, off the fingers though, and that's the 4th-string nickelback, Jonathan Hawkins, picking that one off. Buffs finally get a win at home at Folsom.
Final score 31-13. Tyler Hansen 19 for 26 with 200 yards for the day with 2 touchdowns. Rodney Stewart 2 touchdowns as well, with Clemens a touchdown as well.
Also allowed 330 yards passing to Moniz. However, bright spot, only 7 yards rushing for Hawaii, and the Buffs held them to 3 and 11 on 3rd down.
And in the first 3 games, the Buffs nickelback defenders have a tough time with injuries. Starting freshman safety Parker Orms, who came out of the spring leading the team in tackles for loss, and many other defensive stats, was injured in the CSU game with a torn ACL. Travis Sanderfeld, who started the Cal game replacing Orms, was injured that same game with a broken leg. Paul Vigo took Sanderfeld's spot and started the Hawaii game, but had to leave with a lower leg injury. On a positive note, the starter for the Georgia game is Jonathan Hawkins, who has had 5 tackles and the only interception in the game against Hawaii.
The Buffs are busy commemorating these past couple of weeks, commemorating that is the 20th anniversary of their national championship. Part of that is head coach Bill McCartney, who took CU football to the pinnacle of greatness, and David Starcer takes a look at how he did it.
David Starcer here with CU Sports Mag, sitting down with former head coach of CU football, Coach Bill McCartney. Bill, thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome, Dave.
First question is, of course, with the Georgia game coming up, they're going to celebrate that 1990 national championship team on the field at halftime. Have you been looking forward to that, or are you looking forward to coming here and seeing all those old faces here to celebrate that 20th anniversary?
You know, I haven't seen some of those guys in almost 20 years.
Really?
I've been out of coaching 15 years.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't been circulating in the same places where they do. So it's going to be great just to get reacquainted and celebrate this time.
How special was that 1990 squad?
What happened gradually during the time that I was here is the quality of the player, the athlete, just kept getting better.
Yeah.
When I first got here, we were lining up and we were undersized.
Yeah.
We didn't quite have the same foot speed. But when those guys lined up, we looked everybody in the eye.
Yeah.
We were as big, strong, as fast as anybody would play.
A couple of those guys obviously stand out. One of them, Alfred Williams. How special a player was Alfred when you got the chance to coach him?
Alfred had it all, really. He was big, strong, fast, and smart. He didn't lack anything. And in the big games, that's when he always showed up strongest. So I look back on Alfred, and he was one of those kind of guys that was not lacking anything. He brought it all.
Another guy you coached, Rashawn Salaam, he's the only Heisman Trophy winner in his time here at CU.
We recruited Rashawn out of a small high school, and he had tremendous statistics. But nobody was really sure what we were getting. In this case, he also was very versatile, big back, who had good speed, he was smart, he was very competitive. The kind of records that he set with the kind of yards that he produced was just a result of a complete player.
Do a little wordplay here. Folsom Field.
The mountains.
Nebraska.
The enemy.
Orange Bowl.
The pinnacle.
CU football.
Wholehearted.
Bill McCartney.
Humble.
When you left the program in 94-95 season, it was kind of an abrupt leave. It was, obviously you want to spend more time with your family, your wife, and everything. And it was at a time, like I said, when CU football was at its pinnacle, as you said. How difficult a decision was that to step away when you did that?
It was very difficult because when I was 7 years old, I knew I was going to be a coach. Some guys were going to be astronauts. Some guys were going to be president of the United States. I was going to be a coach. That's all I ever wanted to do. And so at the age of 55, seemingly I was at the top of my profession, and I walked away from it. So I had withdrawal, you can be sure. I never really have ever gotten over it. It's intoxicating. It's compelling. There isn't anything else out there that you can do that quite measures up to coaching college football. It's pure, it's unpredictable, and it's consuming.
Well, thanks for sitting down with me, Coach, and it was a pleasure.
You're welcome.
Send it back to the desk.
Thanks, David. Now that's just one part of our series on the 1990 season, commemorating that 1990 season. Next week we'll have more of that conversation with Coach Mack and the play's CU fans remember to this day. Now, moving on, we've got the trivia question for you now. In the Buffs' takedown of Hawaii last Saturday, both Rodney Stewart and Brian Lockridge broke 100 yards rushing. So this week's trivia question is, when was the last time two CU players rushed for 100 yards? Stick around. We'll have that answer coming up.
And stick around for more Sports Mag. We've got Andrew Tomasini and Ron Knabenbauer breaking down the football team and on the double team set,
as well as highlights from the volleyball team's 5-set thriller against Kansas State.
That's right. Do I look like a commingled container to you? All I want is newspaper.
Why don't you bring that bottle over here? I won't be spitting it back at you.
All right, boy, why don't you bring that bottle over here to commingle so these boys stop bickering and ruin my night.
Oh, let's sit down for a second, okay? So
Hey, Kayla, there's Mary from your class.
Hi, Mary! Hi, Kayla! Come and play!
Oh, sweetie, sweetie. Why don't you go play with those kids over there?
Why?
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
Listen, I know you're upset, but it was just one date. And dating's like the stock market. There's ups and downs and ups and so always buy low.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
Number 4 Nebraska Cornhuskers stormed past the Buffs in Big 12 volleyball action last Wednesday. The loss dropped the Buffs to 3-5 overall and 0-2 in Big 12 play. Junior Anicia Santos led CU with 5 kills, while fellow Buffalo junior Alessa Valentine accounted for the only solo block on the team. The Cornhuskers dominated play, particularly in the kill column, destroying CU 52-19 in that category. The Buffs were eager to get back on track, on the winning track, and got it done on Wednesday against Kansas State. This was their first Big 12 home match and their first Big 12 home win as they took a game away from Kansas State in 5 sets. They dropped the first set, then won the second 2. Then Kansas State evened it up at 4, but finally, due to outstanding play from Kara Schrader and Anicia Santos, the Buffs pulled it out in the 5th set, getting their first Big 12 win on the year.
All right, and now to double team, we have Andrew Tomasini and Ron Knabenbauer looking at the football team.
Take it away, guys.
Football after a good win against Hawaii, and Andrew, they bounced back after a disappointing finish 2 weeks ago against Cal.
Well, it was a great win for the Buffs, and particularly coming off the loss versus Cal, you didn't know how the Buffs were going to respond, and going in 10-0 at the half, Ron, you kind of was wondering what was going to happen in the second half. Well, CU came out, scored 31 unanswered points, touchdowns from Scotty McKnight and Tony Clements, and the running backs did a phenomenal job for the Buffs.
I mean, you touched on a little bit. I mean, that first half was terrible. They should have been down 24-0, but the running backs, they stepped it up. And Rodney Stewart and Brian Lockridge both ran 100 yards each. Major day, and it really helped Colorado get some flow to their offense and let Tyler find the open man down the field.
Absolutely, and you're seeing plays right here out of Rodney Stewart, and you'll see some coming up from Brian Lockridge as well, but here's Rodney Stewart totally faking out the linebacker for Hawaii, and basically all day, CU was able to establish their offensive line and really move the ball well. Here's a touchdown from Rodney Stewart. That one really was rather easy for number 5, but CU had it going, and they had it going in the latter half of the ball game because I didn't think they were going to come back at halftime, but the defense and the offense stepped up.
And the offense simply stepped up. And, of course, Stewart and Lockridge, real quick stat for you. It's the first time that 2 players had rushed for 100 yards since 2002 when Chris Brown and Bobby Purify both did it. But, I mean, the defense held strong, stopped Hawaii twice inside the 5-yard line, once on the 2, once on the 3, and they got safety on it also. So the big man up front, pressuring the quarterback, sure did their job against the Rainbow Warriors.
Absolutely, and by the defense playing so well, it enabled the Buffs offense to really dominate time of possession. They had the ball for 35 minutes and 49 seconds, really took apart Hawaii in the second half. Here you're seeing a safety, and you saw contributions all over the Buffs, whether it was B.J. Beatty, the new Hawkins secondary man out there for the Buffs, and then you also saw Ray Polk, guys everywhere for the Buffs contributing defensively, and that really helped the Buffs ultimately get the win.
Not just that, though CU's running game was working, Hawaii's was nowhere to be found. They kept the Warriors to 7 yards net rushing. That includes 2 sacks. Great day to stop the run. And of course, if you know anything about Hawaii football, they like to pass the ball. But I mean, it's hard to win games when you can't have a solid offense like Hawaii didn't have.
Absolutely. And another good thing that you look at, and something that CU did really well, was convert on third down. And you saw Tyler Hansen, sometimes he gets a little shaky back there in that long third down. They really don't have the playbook really to open it up and say, okay, Tyler, I want you to do this, or have a receiver run a certain route where they feel comfortable getting that each and every time. But they were able to connect on a couple third downs, and that made things so much easier. They were able to get some pass throws to Scotty McKnight and really Tony Clemens as well. You saw him connect on a third down play for a long touchdown. Really, I thought the Buffs played really well in the second half, and they got the W. And whatever it was, and they came out at halftime and they brought something else to the table.
I don't know. I mean, after the game, Dan Hawkins had a bloody nose. Maybe he got so hyped up that he had to headbutt somebody and get his team fired up. It sure seemed to work, though. And Tyler Hansen, we were talking about running backs and everything, but we forget about Tyler Hansen. He had a pretty good day also. 19 for 26, 200 yards, 2 TDs, and like you mentioned, effectively worked that third down and led the Buffs to a 10 for 14 on those third down conversions.
All right, now let's switch gears here, Ron. We're going to talk a little bit about CU facing off versus Georgia. Now, that's not going to happen this Saturday. It's going to happen next Saturday at Folsom Field. That's going to be the blackout game. Let's talk about Georgia and what they bring to the table. We know that A.J. Green will be in the lineup for the Bulldogs. He's going to play versus the Buffs as Georgia has a game this weekend versus Mississippi State. And how are the Buffs going to stop this offense? Because really, it's a dynamic offense. Although they come in 1-2 on the season, they lost their last meeting versus Arkansas in a very tight matchup. What are the Buffs going to have to do to get the W versus a very tough SEC squad?
And any team from the SEC is going to be tough, but for Georgia especially, a lot of these Buffs, a lot of these seniors who were redshirt freshmen back in their freshman year in Dan Hawkins' first year, remember how they were just 46 seconds away from beating Georgia in Athens. Didn't happen as they came back and won for the Bulldogs, but they remember how bad that hurt, and to play them here, it's going to be definitely a huge thing. But to win, they're going to have their cornerback step up because of A.J. Green, who had over 800 yards last season, and their new quarterback, Aaron Murray, who's already thrown for 600 yards this season.
I think quickly here as we wrap up double team, I think another person that, or actually two people that the Buffs are going to have to pay attention to is tight end Tavares King and then Dunham, the wide receiver Chris Dunham. Both had huge games last weekend versus Mississippi State. The Buffs are going to have to contain them, and the Buffs are also going to have to play well on their offensive line. You saw Nate Solder and Ryan Miller play a lot better versus Hawaii. Although Georgia will have a better pass rush, they're going to have to play basically up to that level that they played versus Hawaii. So, listen, it's going to be tough for the Buffs to win it. What's your prediction quickly?
My prediction, I think Georgia's got it, but I think CU's going to come back and make it maybe a 17-14 game, low-scoring affair.
All right, for the double team desk, this is Ron Knabenbauer, and I'm Andrew Tomasini. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. The Buffs basketball team lost captain Dwight Thorne to graduation in May, but the 4-year letter winners' playing days aren't over yet. Thorne has signed a year-to-year deal with the club BG Karlsruhe of Germany and is excited to pursue his dream of playing in the NBA. During his junior year at Colorado, Thorne started every game, averaging 12 points per contest while also leading the Buffs in three-pointers. Karlsruhe, which is located in southwestern part of Germany, will also begin their 2010 season on September 25th.
Sports Mag isn't done quite yet. Coming up after the break, we'll have the answer to that trivia question.
And Paul Harris will give us that weekend weather update. Stay tuned.
Hey girl! How are ya?
Not done yet.
I'm so excited. What's your problem? Forget something? No.
You're gonna sit. You need to strap.
Well, excuse me while I strap this on. Thanks.
Safe to dance. Oh, it's safe to dance. Yes, it's safe to dance.
CU women's golf standout Emily Talley tied a school record by shooting a 6 under par on the UNM championship course. Her round of 67 was only the 4th round to score this low in school history. Despite Talley's outstanding play, she was outdone by another buff, Jessica Wallace, who finished 5th overall. With Talley and Wallace playing well, the team finished in sole possession of 3rd place, only 3 strokes out of the lead. After 6 straight days of play, the Buffs get some time off before they head to Columbia, Missouri on October 4th and 5th.
All right, and we have Mandy Atkins taking on Man on the Street. They're going to look at some Georgia outlook, I guess?
That's right, and she's going to see if any CU students think that we've got a chance against those Bulldogs. Take it away, Mandy.
This week, we went out on campus to see how much CU students know about their football team.
Who do you think the leading reception holder is currently for CU football?
Scotty McKnight.
I don't know. They're all good.
Right now, I'd guess Scotty McKnight.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Were you surprised how well we did against Hawaii this weekend?
I was. I thought we were actually going to lose that game after how badly we got beat against Cal.
Yeah.
So I was really pleased to see that we won.
Yes, it was a lot of fun to go to the game and see him do well.
Yeah, really surprised.
I was surprised, but I also have no idea how good Hawaii is. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was.
Yeah, actually. I didn't think Hawaii would be good at football, but that's...
How do you think they'll do against Georgia?
Win, of course.
Probably not as well. I mean, they're a really good team, so I'm thinking that hopefully it's not as bad as Cal, but hopefully our defense steps up a little bit.
It's a Big South team, isn't it? Yeah. Same way we did against A&M last year.
I really hope we will because my boyfriend's from Georgia and he's coming out for the game, and I want to show him up with our team skills. I don't know.
This is Mandy Atkins with CU Sports Mag.
Thanks, Mandy. CU's tennis team kicks off their season this weekend hosting the University of Denver and the New Mexico State Aggies at the University of Colorado Invitational. All three teams are sporting young rosters this season, making this weekend a unique opportunity to warm up for the season. The Buffs only have one senior on the squad for the first time since 2007, but promising veteran talent in 3 sophomores returning from the team's number 37 ranked last year. The teams began competition Friday morning at 8:30 on the South Campus courts.
To remind you of this week's trivia question, we asked, when was the last time that 2 CU football players rushed for 100 yards in the same game? The answer, 2002, when Chris Brown and Bobby Purify both they combined for 301 yards against Iowa State. That is a long time ago, Matt.
That is, yeah.
At least we've got the running game going again, right?
That's right. All right, and now we have some weather, so take it away.
Hi, I'm Paul Harris, and this is your extended weekend forecast. It's hard to believe that fall is actually here because it's been in the 90s this past week. But if we switch over to the national map, this high-pressure system that's coming over the Rockies is actually really going to help us out in the sense that it's going to give us cooler temperatures and clearer skies, especially in the south, too, where they've been having a massive heat wave, and this cooling off period is going to help them as well. Looking at our Boulder forecast, we got some really nice weather for the next couple of days. 80 on Friday, Saturday is 78, Sunday 81, and Monday is still looking good at 78 as well. But you're probably going to want to put away the flip-flops in the evening, break out the jacket, because you're going to have lows in the upper 40s and 50s there as well. Now, CU is off this week, so taking a look at some of Colorado's other sports teams, we'll start off with the Rockies. They start a 3-game homestand with the Giants, which is a very important series for them. Friday, you're looking at 77, Saturday, 74. Sunday day, you're definitely going to want to bring the sunscreen as that's going to be hot and 83 degrees. And then Monday, when they start playing the Dodgers, it's going to still be nice at 74 degrees. First pitch for that game is at 6:05 p.m. Now, the Broncos are going to invite Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday. First kickoff is at 2:15 p.m. It's going to be great football weather, sunny and 76 degrees for that game as well. Now, I know that I'm going to be going to the Broncos. I bet Luke wants to go to the Broncos as well. It's going to be a great game for them to see Peyton Manning, see how our defense is going to stack up against them, and see how if our offense can put up some points.
Well, I would love to go to the Broncos game, Paul. However, a little strapped for cash at the moment, so I'm going to have to pass. But what do you think about how the Rockies' playoff run's looking?
Well, I think it's going to come down to pitching. This series against the Giants is obviously going to be a huge series for them, and it's going to be how well Jimenez can go, how well Lincecum's going to go for the Giants as well. So it's all going to be about pitching this series.
All right.
You know, I'm definitely not going to the Broncos game. Way too expensive. But I am going to the Rockies game, so that should be a good one. I'll try and watch the Broncos game at least, see if they can take on the Colts. Hopefully they'll give them a run for their money. So.
All right. Well, looks like we're going to have some beautiful weather for those sports this weekend. Paul Harris, Matt Seawick, Luke Rosenmeyer. That's all we've got for Sports Bag. See you next week.
Okay, transfer.